Hi, I'm Jill and this is Badger, and this short sequence is great if you're holding a lot of tension in your back and you want to create some instant mobility. Compare how you feel at the beginning of the sequence to the end. We're going to start off in standing, so if you come towards the front of your mat and stand with your feet at hips distance apart, just stand nice and tall with the shoulders relaxed. Let's take a deep breath in and reach the arms up to the ceiling. Lift your chest, lift your heart towards the ceiling, and then just circle the arms around and bring them down in front of you and gently roll down. Let your arms hang heavily, let your head be heavy as you peel towards the floor. When you get here, it doesn't matter how low you go, just whatever your range is, soften your knees, point your tailbone down and slowly uncurl, rolling through your spine and back to where we started. Let's do a couple of those. Breathe in as you stretch up. Exhale as you circle the arms around, take your gaze towards the floor and gently rolling down. As you're peeling down, notice how close to the floor your hands are getting. If you're quite a way off, it might be worth just grabbing a couple of yoga blocks or a couple of cushions if you have them to hand, just to make things a little bit more comfortable as we move into the next position. So this is the last one. We're going to roll up. Reach the hands up to the ceiling, noticing how your back is feeling as you circle the arms around and roll down. So when we get to the floor this time, you're going to bring your hands onto the floor or the blocks or the cushions, and you're just going to soften your knees and gently extend the legs. Do this a couple of times. It's going to increase the stretch in your lower back. Soften and stretch. Soften and extend. Let's just do one more. This time when you soften the knees, bring your back into a flat back position. Plant the hands to the floor or onto the blocks and take a big giant step back with one leg, this long lunge position, and then bring the other leg back to join it. So here you're in a plank, your shoulders are relaxed, you're reaching your heels back to the back of the room and you're keeping the natural curves of your spine. And from here, we're just going to lower one knee to the floor and the other knee. You can bring them in a little closer if you want to, but it doesn't actually matter if the knees are just a bit behind you. Have the hands underneath your armpits. We're going to round and curve you back towards the ceiling. Let your head and your tailbone drop down in this long curve. Keep the curve in your spine and sit back towards your feet. You'll feel a deepening stretch in your lower back. When you get back here, you're going to lengthen the tailbone, elongate the spine so you can feel each segment of your spine just coming into its natural curve, and then pull with the hands to come forward. Let's do this again. Let's call this the angry cat position, not the angry dog. Sit back towards your feet, lengthen the tailbones, feel that sequential movement through your spine and gently pull forward. Now you can stay with the angry cat position where you're working slowly, feeling that stretch in your back, elongating the spine and coming forward, or you could take this into a bouncing cat position. So you curve the spine and sit back, and when you get back here, take the hands off the floor, keep the shape in your spine and have a little bounce. And you're just noticing what this feels like around your lower back, around your thighs. Just do two more, and then just land the hands to the floor and return to a neutral position. So we're going to come back to that position later and see if things are feeling a little bit freer in your back. So for now, you're just going to sit back towards your feet, walk the hands in towards your knees and uncurl into high kneeling. So again, if you've got a little bit of restriction around your knees, you could put a cushion or two behind you to just make the range of movement a little smaller if you want to. This is what we're going to do. With the hands on the hips, you're going to fold at the hips and sit back towards your feet. Notice what that stretch feels like here at the front, and unfold and come back up. Just practice that a couple of times to begin with. So checking that your pelvis feels balanced, you can feel this stretch at the front of the thighs with no discomfort in the knees. If this feels okay, we're going to add on, notice my pelvis, I'm going to sit back with effectively a flat back position, and then here I'm going to point my tailbone down and curl through the spine to come back up. Let me show you that again. You fold back this flat back position and curl the spine to come back up. So it creates some more mobility here in your lower back, but you'll also really feel it on the front of your thighs. So it's really kind of getting these quads stretched and moving. Let's just do a couple more of those, rolling through that lower back, and make this one the last one. From here, we're going to land the hands down to the floor. We're going to extend one leg out behind you and then the other. So you're back into this plank position. Now you can stay on your toes or you could drop to your knees if you prefer, but soften your elbows and lower yourself as slowly as you can all the way down to the floor. One way or another, end up here. Just bring your arms out nice and wide in a capital E or a W shape and just start to lift your chest away from the floor. So we're just focusing the movement on the upper part of your back initially and gently release down. So my lower back stays quiet. I'm working here in between my shoulder blades, just creating a little bit of length and stretch through this thoracic area of my spine. Then you could lift your chest from the floor and just look over one shoulder towards your foot. And then come back through the center and change to the other side. Let's just do this from side to side, just really easy, mobilizing, like puppy dog, that upper part of your back, feeling the shoulder blades just gently gliding around on the back of the ribs. Good. And then come back to the center. Notice you could maybe bring your elbows down a little bit more as well. If that feels a little easier now to move in the upper part of your back. So really good to free up tension if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk or a computer. These sorts of exercises are really, really useful to help stretch you out the other way. Let's bring the hands a little bit closer. So now you're going to peel your forehead and your breastbone, the front ribs, maybe your tummy button, perhaps your hips from the floor into this long swan position. Soften the elbows and gently roll the front of the body back down. Let's go again, breathing in as you're peeling your spine up into this long C shape and then slowly rolling back down. So we're creating this long curve, lifting your chest, lifting your heart forward, breathing in and exhale as you gently roll back down. Let's just do one more. And at the top of the movement, you're going to press back and sit towards your feet. So just have a quick stretch out from there. Then we're going to slowly uncurl from the bottom of your back and come back into this high kneeling position from before. Let's go back to what we did before. So we were folding at the hips, sitting back towards the feet. Remember, you could have a cushion in here if you want to. Curl the tailbone and slowly come back up. Do it again, but this time we're going to add on. So we're going to sit back and wave and curl through, but this time keep going. Send your pelvis forward, lift your breastbone away from your pubic bone, reach the arms up to the ceiling, breathe in, circle the arms around, which is going to take you back, curl through and lift up. So you can see this shape that I'm making in my spine is what we've just practiced on the floor. It's like doing a kneeling swan, lifting the chest and the heart to the ceiling, stretching through that upper part of the back and then down into that lower back stretch. It's like a wave going through my spine. Feels fantastic for my back, articulating really evenly through my spine and moving into the hips. Let's make this one the last one. We're going to stay in this high kneeling position. Just relax your shoulders. Arc and reach the arms overhead and then reach one arm forward. I'm going to take my left arm forward and my right arm back. Come back to the center, reach the hands up and twist the other way. So by just reaching my arms away from each other, it takes me into this rotation. My ribs are turning on top of my pelvis. You could use an exhale as you turn and inhale as you reach long towards the ceiling. Just do one more to each side. From here, we're going to come back to the center, bring the arms around and come back into a quadruped position. So shoulders are relaxed, got the natural curves of your spine, and just start to gently push with the hands and sit back towards your feet and pull with the hands to come forward. So I'm just folding and unfolding at my hips here. I'm keeping the natural curve of my spine so there's no sort of strain or anything through my back. And then I'm going to keep going with this, but take one leg out to the side. Let me just show you to camera this way. So if you take your right leg out to the side, your shoulders stay relaxed and you're going to sit back and then gently come forward. So the further back you sit, the more stretch you're going to feel on this inner part of your thigh. Let's keep going. So sitting back and then gently coming forward. So you can choose how far you want to go with the range of movement. Now this time, we're going to round and curve your back like we did before, head and tailbone drop down. Sit back slowly, but walk your hands towards the knee and uncurl so you're back in this high kneeling position, but with the leg out to the side this time. Just like before, we're going to arc and reach both hands overhead, and then I'm going to take my right arm forward and my left arm back and turn towards that left leg, which is out to the side. Come back to the center. We're just going to do this side for now, so don't worry about going the other way. Turn and rotate. Feel how your ribs are moving around on top of the pelvis, and it's literally kind of massaging this inner thigh and hip area. Now this might feel enough, so you could just stay with the twist here, but if you want to add on a little bit more, as you turn and rotate, fold forward, send your tailbone back and lean forward and come back up. So arm and arm reaching away from each other, folding forward and sitting back. The deeper I fold, the more stretch I'm feeling through my inner thigh area. You could use an exhale as you fold forward and inhale as you lift back up. Let's make this one the last one, and then come back to the center, bring that leg in, come back into quadruped. Now do you remember what we did earlier on? We had the angry cat or the bouncing cat position. It looked like this. You round and arch your back, head and tailbone drop down. Keep the curve in your spine and sit back towards your feet. How does it feel on that left side of your back and the left hip compared to the right? Lengthen through the spine, so articulate evenly into this natural curve of your back and gently pull forward. So this is the angry cat position. You can stay with this, rounding, curving back, lengthen through the spine and come forward, or you could have another go at the bouncing cat where you curve, sit back, keep the shape in your back and have a little bounce. Again, noticing if it feels different on the side of your body that you've worked on compared to the side that you haven't. This is the last one. We're going to land the hands down to the floor, return to the natural curves of your spine with your shoulders relaxed, and take your other leg out to the side. So shoulders are relaxed, just in your own time start to sit back and gently come forward. So you're working with the range of movement that feels comfortable for you, trying to keep these hands fairly even on the floor. Sometimes if you're a bit tight in the hip, you'll veer off to one side. So we're trying to just keep the hands nice and evenly weighted. You could feel like your sit bones are widening and opening as you go back, creating a little bit more stretch through the pelvic muscles and deep into the inner thigh and the groin. Let's just do one more like this. And then if you're happy to add on, we're going to round and curve the back. You're going to walk your hands towards the knee, uncurl into a high kneeling position, relax your shoulders. Reach the arms overhead. Reach one arm forward and take the other arm back. Turn towards that leg out to the side. Come back to the center. Turn and rotate. The more you reach the arms away from each other, the more twist you'll feel. This might feel enough for the time being, so you can stay with this, but if you want to add on a bit more, as you reach the arms away, you lean and fold forward and come back to the center. You could use an exhale as you reach away, and an inhale as you stretch the arms up to the ceiling. Every time I'm reaching up to the ceiling, I'm creating length in my spine and more space. Let's just do two more on this side. Badger is suitably unimpressed with our stretching today. We're going to come back to the center. We're going to bring that leg back in and come back into the quadruped position. And just recheck your angry cat or your bouncing cat position. And notice if there was a difference before, does it feel a little bit more even on both sides now? If that was the angry cat or the bouncing cat, you sit back and you just gently bounce. Notice particularly around this lower back area and around the thighs and the hips if it feels a little freer. Make this the last one. Land the hands back down to the floor, lengthen through the spine, have the shoulders relaxed, and then just tuck your toes under when you're ready. Feel the balls of the feet on the floor. Send the feet down towards the floor and lift up your knees. Notice just how that feels, that stretch through the back of the legs. And then we're going to walk the hands towards the feet, step by step. And let your arms just dangle heavily, let your head be heavy, soften your knees, point your tailbone down and gently uncurl. We're back to where we started. Let's reach the hands and the heart up to the ceiling. Big stretch through the front of the body, breathe in. Circle the arms around and gently bring them down in front of you. Let your arms be heavy and your head be heavy as you peel down towards the floor. You know how you felt at the beginning of this little sequence. Have things shifted? Do you feel a little bit more easeful in your movement? Maybe you can stretch a bit further. You feel a bit more open through the front of the body here. And then what about through the back of the body? Have you got any more range? Are you closer to the floor? How does it feel around your lower back? Soften the knees, point the tailbone down. Let's make this one the last one. Breathing in as you stretch up, breathing out as you circle around, and gently roll down towards the floor. And then soften the knees, point the tailbone down, uncurl into standing, let your shoulders relax. Well done, everybody.